It's the fall of 2020, and I hope that you, just like we, are preparing for 2021. Hey Arctic family and friends, one of the things that we wanted to do in this channel was to give you an inside scoop, behind the scenes peek at what it looks like to run a company. And so it is the fall of 2020, and we are working right now diligently on preparing for 2021. So what does that mean? What does that process look like for us? What does that process look like potentially for the company that you drive for? I want to talk about just a couple high-level things, and hopefully it's beneficial to you if you are an owner-operator, if you are curious about running a business, or if you're just trying to figure out whether your company is keeping up with the industry. So first and foremost, we are working on budgeting, and we are working on forecasting or projecting what 2021 is going to look like. The budgeting side is a bit easier to do. I'm not saying it's easy, it's easier than the forecasting, the projecting side. Budgetarily, we know a lot of things about the business. We are almost 40 years in existence, and so what we're going to do is look at our expenses in 2020, annualize those, and then adjust them as needed in order to create that budget for 2021. And just like you, if you are a budgeter in your household income, we are trying to account for absolutely every single penny. And if you're going to create a budget, you want to make sure that you're not understating your expenses. The last thing that you want is to get partly through the year and then figure out that, oops, we didn't budget enough for fuel or for tolls or for health insurance, things like that. And so those are some big ticket items in addition to payroll that we have to make sure we're in a good position to cover. And thankfully, we have come through 2020 and we are in a very stable position, and we're excited about what's coming in 2021. And so we are in the midst actually right now of putting that budget together. On the forecasting side, that is more looking at customers, loads, numbers of drivers, how many days of the month are they going to be working, how many trucks are we going to have seated throughout the calendar year. Some companies will just assume every truck is going to be seated every day of the calendar year, and we would say that that is a bit of a silly assumption. Every company, no matter how good they are, is going to deal with turnover, with change. There are health issues that come up, there's family issues that come up, there are differences of philosophies between a driver and a company. And so there's certainly moments when tractors are going to be empty. We also don't have control oftentimes over the driving habits of others on the road. And so there's times that a truck will be involved in some sort of a minor accident and might be out of commission for a week or 2 weeks while it's being repaired. And so we're going to look at the calendar year, and we're going to look at how many tractors we anticipate having on the road, total days that they will be on the road, miles that they're going to drive. What are our rates going to look like with our customers? Are those rates going to be the same as 2020? Are they going to be less than 2020? Are they going to be better than 2020? And that side is a bit more challenging, as I said, especially after the year 2020, where we are all experiencing COVID-19, and it didn't matter what anybody's forecasting was coming into 2020, it has been very different than what anybody planned for it to be. So we've learned an additional lesson, and I hope that your business or your company that you work for has learned that as well. You can never come up with a perfect plan moving forward because you don't know what the future holds for you. You can make some reasonable assumptions and you can make sure that your business is going in the right direction. So this process could be determined or could be viewed as super boring and annoying and laborious. I like numbers, and so for me, it's not boring. I find it very interesting, and more than anything, I understand how necessary it is to make sure that we are going in the right direction. This would be the time where if a business wasn't healthy and they started putting these numbers, projections together and budgets together, that they would find out, oops, this doesn't look like things are going to work out too well in 2021. And as you go through that process in 2020, gives you an opportunity to have the discussions. Well, what changes would we need to make? Now, thankfully, we don't find ourselves in that position. But as we go through this, we will still evaluate the strength of the company, how we're moving forward. Are there any things that we need to tweak, do differently? How can we provide the best opportunities for our drivers, for our staff, and continue to allow the business to become healthier? Another part of this process is the question of equipment. Do we have the right amount of equipment? Do we have too much? Do we have too little? Tractors and trailers, how many company drivers do we have? How many company trucks do we own? How many owner-operators are contracted on with Arctic Express? Do we believe that every one of those owner-operators will stay with us for the duration of the next year? Some of that you just don't know. And as I said before, life circumstances change for folks, and those relationships may continue, they may come to a conclusion. But it's important for us to be asking the questions about equipment to make sure that if there's anything we need to shift or adjust, we can do that. We can get that process started, because if you're going to go buy a new truck, the way that it happens for us, it's not just like a car where you go to the dealership and you pick one out and you drive away the next day, or you go to a used car lot and you pick something up. We will work with multiple manufacturers and come up with a truck spec, an exact truck design, work through pricing, work through financing, work through the timeline, when can they build that truck and when would it be then delivered to Arctic. And so we have, as I mentioned in a previous video, we have just put in an order for some trucks that we would receive in 2021. And we have, as a result of that same order, recognized a need to add a couple trailers. So as we continue to grow our drop trailer program, trying to make sure that we can maximize our hours of service as much as possible, we recognize that we probably need to add some trailers to the group that we have today. And so we are actually right in the middle of that process. That order has not been signed yet. It has not been agreed to with any particular finality. So hopefully that will be happening in the very near future. But that's the process that we are going through right now in 2020 to make sure that we are in a position to be successful in 2021. We hope that wherever you are, that you are going through some sort of a similar process. If it is for you and your family, we would recommend some personal budgeting and looking at your finances and making sure that your family is going to be provided for and in a good, solid financial condition in 2021. If you are out there driving for somebody else and you say, I don't even know what a solid financial condition would look like, we would love to talk to you. You can call us or look us up at arcticexpress.com, and we can start the conversation with you about joining our family here, where you'll have good opportunities. If you're ready to work, we have more freight than we can move at the moment, and we have great customers that we're working with who keep that freight coming to us so that we can provide good quality employment for drivers all around the eastern half of the U.S. If you're working for another company, we hope that your company is stable. We hope that they're being successful. We hope that they're going through this process as well and making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted for a successful 2021. We see the transportation industry recovering, and we hope that whether you're driving for us or not, that 2021 is a much better year than 2020. We're hoping for good health for people all around the world, that COVID will calm down, and that we can see some significant progress. But that's what we're doing, guys, right now in 2020. A little glimpse into how we are making sure we are ready to go for 2021.